So, 1, 2, 3.
Good day, we are students of financial engineering. My partner, Julie Paula Ramirez, and who is talking to you, Carlos Gustavo Casallas.
Somalia's poverty and possibly solutions out of poverty. Somalia is a country located in the South Globe or of Africa. It's of he Kontinenten. After a long civil war, the country was divided into small, independent states without a power that governs it in its entirety. In 2004, different factors reached an agreement to form a transition governmental unifying the country finally and 2012. A new provisional constitution was approved that will govern the entire unified country. It is considered a failed state by various or more eugenistical a fraile status.
Somalia politics. After the start of the civil war and the collapse of the regime Siad Barre, the early 1999, Somalians have preferred to develop conflict resolution process, which consists of civil laws, religion laws, and customary laws. Some small auto, autonomous regions, including the administration of Somaliland, Puntland, and Gamaludug, emerged in the north, strengthening the decentralization process. In the early 2000s, the creation of provisional flinging federal administration was observed. The transitional nation government was established in 2000, followed by the formation it is success. The transitional federal government in 2004, which reestablished national institutions such as the Somali Army in 2006. The TFG assists Ethiopic troops to assume control of most of the conflict zones in the southeast of the nation caused by the newly formed organization from 2011. 2012, a roadmap of political process will launch that provide the basis for the establishment of permanent and democratic institutions. Within the administrative system, a new constitution was approved in August 2012, which established Somalia as federation after the end of the TGF's interim mandate. In the same month, the federal government of Somalia was formed, the first central government in the country after the civil war. The nation was experiencing an intense period of reconstruction, particularly in the capital, Mozambique. Next, we are going to know the economy of Somalia, which will be our starting point to recover the poverty that we live today, based on the story to the reality of today.
Somalia economy. The Somali economy, and this includes both the territory controlled by the government of Mogadishu and the rebel areas of Punt and Somaliland. is eminently agrarian and underdeveloped due to armed conflicts and instability in the region. As a result, Somalia is currently one of the poorest in the world, and its main sources of income come from foreign aid, remittance, and the black market. Agriculture, like food and fishing activity. Somalia practices subsistence agriculture. Its main crops are maize, sesame, sugar, fruits, and vegetables. There are also plantations in the fields water by the sounds ripes, sugarcane, rice, cotton, grapefruit, mango, and papaya. Lakes food is more productive. In fact, it generates about 6% of Somalia GDP. The country small finch sector revolutions are the capture of tuna and mackerel and Indian waters. Unfortunately, the Somali finch industry has been adversely affected and recent decades by numerous piracies of the shores, resource and industry. Somalia has few mineral resources, use a few deposits of tin, 40, coal, iron, and but the quantity and the quality of the minerals are too low for their exploit to, to be profitable. The manufacturing industry contributes almost nothing to the national GDP, although until 1991, before the Civil War. Mogadishu has a prominent industrial center at the level.
Commerce. Somalia was a large trade deficit. Its main export product is livestock, which is sent mainly to Arab countries. Almost all manufactured products are imported. The main trading partner of the country are the United Arab Emirates, Ethiopia, Saudi Arabia, Kenya, and Oman. It should be noted that Somalia is one of the poorest countries on the planet. Its natural resources are scarce, although it has large untapped oil and mineral reserves, among which uranium stands out. A large part of its population is nomadic or semi-nomadic and lives by raising livestock so that livestock represent 40% of the GDP and more than 50% of exports. Consequently, years of drought and armed conflict have resulted in crop failure, livestock depletion, and rising food price. Somalia, until the end of the 17th, was a self-sufficient country in terms of food. However, the food crises for many years are systematic. Currently, a third of its population depend on humanity. The guideline imposed by the IMF and the World Bank in 2018 in order to pay off the debt with the Paris Club entailed very tough cut in public spending, health and education, and the implementation of liberation policies, which opened the market for the massive entry of North American and Europe products, such as rice and wheat. The multiplication of food and ID 1970 and 1980 made traditional crops to complete with important products. The country was forced to reformulate its nomadic pastoral economic into an export-led economic, abandoning subsistence crops such as rice and wheat. Furthermore, the recent massive purge of fertile soil by foreign investors is making it difficult for Somalia to success land. The land in the hand of very few people are used to produce grain for international markets. Food speculation, control of the business by industrialized agriculture, and land grabbing have a very negative effect on the Somali population, condemning them poverty and inability to success food. In this situation, drugs that devastate the area the country to permanent famine without recovery capacity. According to the Indicator of Global Peace from the Institution of Economy and Peace is one of the most insecurity countries in the world. The continuous and diversified conflict they have excused the country since 1991. There has not been a government with real power of the entire territory.
The following that helps to understand the status where the country is located. 16% of children suffer from acute malnutrition, big strain in 3.4 points of the child's population. The rate of breastfeeding for the first 6 months of life is around 9%. So most children do not receive the nutritional and immune benefits of breast milk. The average life expectancy is around 50 years. Only 39% of the populace as accounts to base sanitation infrastructure. The open defecation rates 830% in rural areas, which means that there is a high risk of contracting diarrheal diseases. UNICEF it is estimated that 1 in 5 children dies before their fifth birthday from infections such as pneumonia, diarrhea, measles, and malaria. Maternal and infant mortality rates are among the highest in the world. 1 in 10 Somali children die before their fifth birthday, and 1 in 12 women dies from pregnancy-related causes.
Somalia was one of the highest rates of unvaccinated children in the world. Only 2% of children receive all the necessary vaccines, according to international recommendation in the first year of life, and 54% of children do not receive any vaccination. Only 29% of the population has access to drinking water. Tribal revilers have caused the displacement of 3,750 people, victims of hunger and human rights abuse. 44% of international displaced people depend on buying water from sources more than 2 kilometers away. The primary school enroll rate is only 13 for boys and 7 for girls. More than 3 quarter of mothers with children under the age of 5 have not received an education. The ratio of boys to girls is 9 to 10 in primary school, but decreased to 6 to 10 in secondary school. This translates to literacy rates of around 30% among women aged 15 to 24. Most women between the age of 15 and 49 undergo genital mutilation. This practice at the age of between 5 and 10 years. It is a social convention of linked to virginity, fidelity, and drollery, in which girls face social pressure from family and friends. Other human rights violations such as gender violence and early marriage of girls at the age of 9 are frequent. Reports show that from January to October 2012, there are more than 3,753 report cases of gender violence, 2% men. These violations are not even considered as such in a culture in which the rights of women are simply not considered. While it is impossible to know the number of children forcibly recruited, 2012 report from the Serious Violation Monitoring and Reporting Mechanism showed 2008 boys and 43 girls recruited as child soldiers. The only outlet of Somalia are to join armed groups or away from them. An international organization that accounts for external effects and carries out comprehensive solution is essential. The inability of the United Nations has been denounced on several occasions. As a consequence, the results are inefficient insecurity and the allocation of resources, with overexploitation in the destruction of the environment with serious consequence for the survival of the population. And they also turn again Western countries not only because of the issues mentioned, but also because of the increase in refugee camps of those who do not live from extortion, drugs, and the arms trade free. Somalia is one of the generation countries along with Afghanistan, Iraq, Syria, Sudan, and the Congo. They constitute 55% of refugees in the world. Somalia free of country at the world without resource, devastated locality and population.
Possible solutions. With the looming threat of famine, donors urgently need for funding. Since the crisis is largely component by rising food price, many families start as market overflow with imported food. Aid organizations must accept a transfer of small amounts of money to these families to those mobile phones, but the measures, while necessary, will be treated more than fundamental palliative measures until others are taken at the same time against the artificial cause of the crisis. Roadblocks must be pulled down. The federal government and those of the states, with the support of the elders of the clans, must dialogue with the militias, what are contract checkpoints on the crucial roles for distribution of aid to the victims of the drought. It is negotiated for the legitimate authorities should explore the option of action military to dismantle those controls and provide armed escort to aid caravans.
Additionally, Bureaucratic restriction must be relaxed. The administration and state should collaborate with the access task for the easy restriction and bureaucracy. The Humber Humanity Operation, drastic measures must be taken against crimes of widespread sexual violence in camps for displaced persons. To do so, they must reinforce police work and include more women among the officers. It is important to address the root of chronic conflict. When push comes to shove, find a solution to Somalia's chronic wars is the only way to sustainably tackle the ongoing threat of food insecurity and famine. This will require at minimum that both the federal and state government with donor support fight large-scale corruption, begin provide public service, especially security, to complete constitutionally negotiation on the sharing of power and authority, and to resume the state process of national reconciliation between the Somalis clans. Finally, it must be borne in mind that although al-Shabaab has been defeated on the battlefield, and expect from large area of Somali territory having largely lost popular support due to its indiscriminate attack. It continues to retain control of broad interior areas, and above all, it maintains freedom of action and a high degree of operation capacity as can be seen with its late condition. For this reason, the pressure on the organization must continue both at the military and legislative levels to allow and facilitate its militants to leave the ranks of all Shabbat and to integrate into Somalia social life. Taken from Russian.